Tonight, CBS News correspondent Jim Axelrod has the story of a 92-year-old LA woman who lost her life savings despite her daughter pleading with her bank for help before it was too late.
I'll never forget, there was a message on my phone.
Hello, I'm calling with Charles Schwab with the Financial Crimes Investigations team.
This was 6 months ago. The message for Leslie came from Charles Schwab, where her mother had an investment account.
They just mentioned large transactions and wire transfers, and did I know what was taking place?
And you didn't?
No, I didn't.
Leslie, who asked we only use her first name, was discovering her mother was one of tens of thousands of Americans being scammed by criminals overseas this year. These scammers pretended to be IT experts from the government who told her mom her computer had been hacked and convinced her to take money out of her account to buy gold, which they said was a safer investment.
I didn't talk to my family about it.
Especially insidious, the scammers told Leslie's mom, Ruth, to keep all of this secret.
Well, I wanted to tell them, but I thought that the government would punish me, and I didn't want them to get into trouble, anybody that I told.
Leslie was a trusted contact on Schwab's paperwork, and the firm had her ask her mom about what was going on.
We said, where is the gold? Is it in your apartment? Is it in a safety deposit box? Where is the gold? And she wouldn't tell us.
This is surveillance video showing exactly what happened to the gold. Watch as Ruth walks it outside her retirement home and hands over her life savings to a stranger.
It must be heartbreaking for you to watch that.
Absolutely. It's shocking.
One after another, the balances in her mother's accounts began to plummet.
What are you doing today?
So I said, I'm going to film the entire interaction with you and the scammers on my phone.
Okay, let's start all over again. No worries.
Until Leslie convinced Ruth the people on the other end of the line were not there to help.
Now, next. Click on next.
And convinced her to fight back.
Every single day, they required her to sit next to her computer, take their calls, and log into whatever accounts they needed.
Leslie told us that she warned Schwab, thinking if they knew what was happening, they'd put an end to it.
I am begging you, lock my mother's account down, please.
But it was too late. Ruth's accounts had been drained. Schwab declined an interview, but disputed Leslie's account, saying the company repeatedly communicated with Leslie, and she did not express concerns after speaking with her mother.
There were so many red flags.
Attorney Anne Marie Murphy filed the lawsuit on behalf of Ruth, alleging that Schwab's inaction amounted to aid and material contribution to the scammers, which Schwab says is untrue and unfair.
Everybody that has a credit card in this country is familiar with having transactions declined. And the reason that credit cards are so good at doing this is because they're on the hook for fraud. The same isn't true with banks.
With the responsibility comes the consequence if you fail at protecting your clients.
Correct.
Banks invest billions of dollars in trying to catch these guys, but we can't do it alone.
Paul Benda from the American Bankers Association says it's the government's job to help target the scammers, not just the financial industries.
Government has to play a key role in here. So when a bank calls up with a potential scam, we need them to engage quickly and help us make the right decision.
At 92, Ruth, who spent her professional life taking care of others as a nurse, has now lost her life savings.
This should not happen to any decent, law-abiding citizen who spent their whole life working so that they can save a bit of money for their retirement. And something needs to be done about it.
Jim Axelrod, CBS News.
Well, Charles Schwab would not do an interview, but they did emphasize it is difficult for a bank to tell a client they can't do what they want to do with their own money. Some financial institutions have figured out a way to identify and intercede with potential scam victims. And we're going to tell you more about that tomorrow on CBS Mornings. That airs on CBS over on Channel 2 at 4 a.m. and 7 a.m.